Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Dungeon Master Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video is my continuation of the RPGaDay 2024, day 14. So I'm one day behind. I just returned from vacation, and day 14's prompt was compelling characters. So I can't think of a better group of compelling characters than the characters that my players in my AD&D first edition campaign, The Keepers of Quasqueton. Um, I mean, these are truly great players, uh, great creators of compelling characters, and I am going to showcase as many of those as I still can. We wrapped up this campaign that ran for 2 years and 2 months of weekly play. And excuse me. And at one point, there were 12 players scheduled, 10 began, and a total of 8 finished up the campaign. But some of the characters um, dropped out fairly early on, but they were still really, really important to include in my final compilation of compelling characters. And so, without further ado, let me shift views over to my Roll20 so that you can see these characters that were created. And I'll describe each one very briefly, and then the main antagonist of the campaign as well. So here we have all of the characters. So as you can see, a total of 9 characters played a significant role in this 2 year and 2 month campaign. I will go over each of them. These are not in any real particular order, other than the fact that the first 6 had, or 7 actually, had completely uh, gone through the majority, like 90% of the adventuring. So I'm just going to switch these two here to put them in a slightly better um, space. So anyway, we had Amalric, who is an elven fighter magic user, and as you can see, he had 50 hit points, a -5 AC, and he was a ninth level fighter and an 8th level magic user. That is followed by Candrius, the party's paladin, a human paladin. He ended up finishing up at 8th level, 71 hit points, a -3 armor class. He might have -4 with a shield, but this is his typical armor class that he had. Then Mirador, the cleric. Mirador finished up at 9th level with 47 hit points and a -1 armor class. Sparrow, the party's druid. She was half elf druid, 50 hit points, 2 armor class, and the 11th level, so the highest of the levels amongst the entire party. And she, being a druid, played a significant role in the overall campaign, and I will describe that to you. Breeze is an elven cleric. He finished up at 9th level with 65 hit points and a -1 AC. Zane came in, so this is Shadow and Son, and he came into the campaign after maybe the first 10 months of the campaign. So he finished out the year and 4 months or so of the campaign. He finished up as a 10th level magic user with 42 hit points and a -2 armor class. His image disappeared for some reason, like it. I think it was from his end, and so I no longer have that image. So this was a stock image, which I thought looks pretty cool anyway for a Magic user. Angus, what initially started out playing as a ranger, and then he wanted to shift to bard, and so he was defrocked as a ranger and became a fighter. Got to level uh, 5 or so. No, I'm sorry. He got to level 7 as a fighter, and then moved on to accumulating up to level 7 as a thief, and then he became a bard, and he finished up as a 7th level bard by the close of the campaign. Now, Angus was kind of um, he missed quite a few sessions near the tail end as he moved from the United States to Europe, and it really changed his time zones, and so that's why he's listed down near the bottom. Uh, Crandon was is a halfling thief. He started from the very beginning, and he played through up until about the last 4 months of the campaign. He his character, well, he had a job change, and so he needed to leave. But his character finished up as a 9th level thief, and 58 hit points, -1 AC. And then finally, Cedric. Now, Cedric left early on in the campaign, but he played a really significant role in guiding the overall campaign tone, and really some of the behind the scenes story of the campaign as well. So he left when he was only 5th level. He played through the first 8 or 10 weeks. Again, another job related change that prevented him from continuing on with the group. But as I said, he played a significant role in in the party, uh, in both getting their name, the Keepers of Quasqueton, but also really generating in my mind the story be, behind dark druids, and that's where we get to Zelagar. So Zelagar is a is an old school TSR creation the found in Quasqueton, so found in B1, and also mentioned in B2. So the Search of the Unknown, Zelagar and Rogan were adventuring companions, very, very powerful and actually quite evil. And so Zelagar became the protagonist in this campaign. I'm sorry, the antagonist in this campaign to a certain extent. He was kind of a secret patron of the party because he was manipulating them to allow him to break free of the controls of a demon lord, and thus allow for him to not only defeat and banish the demon lord, but then also allow him to ascend and become a demigod, which was the closing scene of the adventure, and of the campaign for the player party. And uh, Zelagar himself, prior to Ascension, was a 22nd level magic user and a 16th level druid. And like I said, druids played a really important role in this campaign, because there was a faction of druids which were known as the Dark Druids. And I much later on discovered uh, Robert Kuntz's adventure, The Dark Druids, and it really became an undercurrent for um, for the campaign as a whole, and trying to discover how Zelagar and his machinations uh, allowed for druids to go beyond the Greyhawk level limit of level 12, and without having to fight for that title of 12 and beyond. And so Zelagar actually utilized his influences with darker powers in order to kind of violate that constraint, and devise various ways of manipulating other groups. Um, another cult-like faction uh, to deity Wastery also played a significant role in this. And so you can go back and see the various videos that I've done as recaps for this. But you will see. I'm sorry, I had that opened. I shouldn't have. Um, you'll see much of the story tracking of the adventure and of their adventures, combined adventures. So really, really compelling characters that each of them. Malric was there were so many leaders in this group too. I want to mention that there was no one specific leader in the group. At various moments where it was most appropriate, each of these player characters shined. Malric was a steadfast, um, you know, both player and character. Um, all of these players knew what their other characters' backgrounds were to a certain extent. They knew, in many cases, they knew what others had in their backpacks. I mean, that's how attuned they were in paying attention to the action going on, even when it wasn't their turn per se. So, just a phenomenal group of players, and they created characters from a Malric to Candrius was a paladin, just stalwart and straightforward and true, to his code towards Heronius and such. Mirador, the the more healer cleric amongst the group, whereas Breeze was much more of the utilizing spells that were more situational, and relying predominantly on his bow during combat. Sparrow, like I said, um, was kind of like the moral compass of the group, and really played a significant role because so much had to do with druids in this campaign that her knowledge of the various druidic sects and such really came into play. Zane rolled in, taking over the spot for Cedric, um, and as the sole magic user in the party at this point, except for Amalric, um, uh, as like a backup kind of magic user, played a significant role in um, in knowing that arcane knowledge and such. Angus was a absolute howitzer, uh, and single shot killer from afar early on when he was a ranger, and then once he regained those abilities as a seventh level fighter, being specialized in the bow, and got back to being able to utilize those spells once he became or abilities once he became a first level bard. um, that kind of put him back into that role again. Crandon was often the point man, or halfling, I should say, and uh, his heroicism in combat was really, really impressive, especially at lower levels. I mean, he was always right there in the front. Um, he had nearly been killed several times, and yet still didn't cower back. And then, as I mentioned, Cedric, the human magic user, very, very early on, kind of just gave that role playing uh, feel and feed into the overall story. I mean, he was the one that inspired me to make the Dark Druids a much more prominent role. And again, this was prior to my even knowing that Robert Kuntz wrote an adventure module called the Dark Druids, and just really moved forward, and the whole concept of what the campaign would turn out to be. So so that is my wrap up of the prompt for day 14: compelling characters, my own player party group, and their 2 years and 2 months of an AD&D first edition campaign really did bring that all together. And like I said, I encourage you to take a look at some of the recap videos I did earlier on in the campaign. Really got so immersed as a dungeon master, and the players as well, into actually just running the campaign and playing along with these players, that I kind of fell off keeping up with doing recaps, because we were just having so much fun playing. And the doing the recaps on YouTube were kind of a side thing for us. So and certainly for me as well. And so I kind of lost track of doing those as often as I was for some time. But there's still half a dozen or so more, or more, um, videos out there of those recaps and some of the retellings of the stories, of these characters. So that's my uh, that's my day 14 compelling characters for the RPG Day 2024. I thank you all for joining in. Please remember to like and subscribe and to comment, and share these videos out there. And as always, I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen or at a convention table sometime soon. You'll have a great rest of your day. Take care.